Allow me to present to you my research work. That's the challenges that a bank has in order to provide secure internet banking services. These are the contents of my presentation, and let me give a brief background into my research work. Okay, first of all, we all know internet banking is where people do online financial transactions, and it also brings technological benefits to us as well as the banks. But with the increase in technology comes vulnerabilities to cyber attacks. So if we read these newspapers, we always see, okay, these are the websites. Fake websites have been created for fraudulent purposes. That is to hack into customers' internet banking accounts and then take their money. If you see this, it's Sri Lanka's cybersecurity agency had warned customers. So there comes a question as to, is the security proper? Having these things in mind, I created my research objectives as follows. Before moving on, my first objective was to understand the concept of internet banking. Before moving on to other things, we have to first understand what internet banking is. And next, it's about understanding what are the current security threats in Sri Lanka. Sorry on that. And how does these cyber security attacks have an impact on internet banking? So, having these cyber security attacks, what does the bank ensure in order to manage risk? What are the steps taken by the bank? That was my last objective. And these are my information gathering tools that I used. So the company that I used in order to do my research was Sampath Bank, which is one of the largest banks in Sri Lanka and one of the first to introduce internet banking to Sri Lanka. And it's also began its operations in 1987. And the core areas over here you can see, and my focus was mainly on e-banking. So, based on my findings, my first one was understanding what internet banking is. So you can see over here, these are the main facilities that was being used by Sampath Bank. These are the main internet banking facilities. And we all know, we can do credit card payments, debit card payments via internet, fund transfers. So, based on the information that I gathered from the management, this is the information that I found out about what internet banking is. So all of these facilities that I understood, it was all transactional in nature. Transactional is where it comes along with high risk. Why? Because the bank's network it's all networked with the customer's computers and the banking infrastructure, and that is why it's of higher risk. That is why there is a great possibility that cyber attacks can take place. So, what are the security attacks currently? We all know worms, spams, trojans, but one of the most important things that the bank feared most was identity theft and phishing. So, with these questions in mind, trust is really crucial. The bank has to ensure to show the customers that their internet banking facilities are secure. And so, what should the bank do then? Maximize security. Currently, Sampath Bank is using single-factor authentication, and they're planning on maximizing the security by multi-factor authentication. It's not been launched yet, but that's what they're planning. And I asked a question. I did a sample survey, and most people thought that before choosing internet banking, they should think that security is the most important factor when they're deciding to choose an internet banking service. And you can see from the graph over here, 40% thinks it's a deciding factor, security is a deciding factor, and 50% think it's a very much concerning factor. Security features are very much concerning when deciding to choose internet banking. And one of the questions that I asked was, what would you do if fraudulent, suspicious activities were going on in the internet banking. And if you see from the large area, 63% think that they should lodge a complaint to the bank. 23% think that they should stop doing internet banking and solve services. And 3% think, okay, let's wait until the next suspicious activity comes up. So, with these current security attacks, but the bank thinks that before, because technology is an important factor, but there are other challenges that a bank should have to ensure that their internet services are secure. So the first one is solid recruitment. You should get good people, and you should train the staff, and the cost per head is really high compared to training normal staff. And the technology availability, where you have to import the technology from other countries, which is really expensive because our country is really small and the bargaining power is very low. So therefore the cost of technology is very high. And creating customer awareness. So what happens if you don't take the necessary risk management steps? You get the reputation loss. If the bank has not implemented proper techniques, you will have reputation loss, customers lose trust in you, and they will switch to other banks. And finally, it's financial and operational loss. So having these things in mind, what should the bank do then? Maximize security. All right, too much of security. Let's say, for example, you're supposed to do internet banking and you're entering 5 passwords to do a transaction. That is not, it's gonna take some of the time of yours. So I questioned this from my sample that I selected, and 76% shows convenience and privacy both. If you see from this graph here, 76% think their internet banking should be secure as well as convenient at the same time. So this large part over here, that's that percentage. And 13% think, well, it's only privacy that we should think of. So, based on all of these, my conclusion is that there are 3 aspects that a bank should think about: security, user-friendliness, and reputation. You can't compromise any of these facts. If you reduce security, for example, the bank will lose reputation. And if you maximize security, it's going to hamper the user-friendliness. So the bank should learn to have a delicate balance between all these 3 aspects, and that is a big challenge for a bank. That's a very big challenge because you can't compromise any of these 3 aspects. So, having this as a big challenge, I was actually questioning from a bank, why do you want to move with internet banking with all of these challenges? And the bank management said, it's because of the great opportunities for the bank. They can tap a larger mass market compared to traditional banking. So, having these things in mind, the research would have been much more better if I had selected all banks in Sri Lanka who are doing internet banking, and then I should have considered the competition aspect as well. But based on the time limit that I had to choose only one bank to do the research. So that was Sample Bank. And thank you all for your attention, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pathirajah. Sorry, the first 3 presentations were on the topic of IT, and now we're on the next 3 are on business process. So the next speaker is Thilini Pathirajah, and the title of the presentation: Analysis of Customer Feedback on Production and After Sales Automobiles with Reference to Micro